The newest news shows that George Russell got kicked out of the Belgian race, which means Lewis Hamilton actually won the Belgian Grand Prix. The stuff in this video was written before we knew this happened, so just remember that when you watch. But it doesn't mean the video info is wrong anymore, since Mercedes did really well this weekend. So let's start. Mercedes totally crushed it at Spa with an awesome 1-2 win after both their drivers started in 3rd and 6th place with Hamilton and Russell. But it wasn't easy at the end when things could have gotten messy if there were more laps left with Russell's one-stop plan. The young British guy was hoping to finish in the top 3, but he got the best prize after fighting off his teammate. He won the race. But did this happen because his team didn't listen to Hamilton's radio messages? And how does the 7-time world champion feel about this now that he only has 11 races left with Mercedes? It's safe to say that a 1-2 finish for Mercedes was definitely not expected after what we saw during the whole weekend at Spa. But amazing planning, good tire care, and a big help from Verstappen's penalty have made the silver cars only 119 points behind the Austrian team, which will definitely give a lot of hope for the second half of the season. But the 1-2 win for Mercedes, which was the first like this in 2024 after getting the front row in qualifying at Silverstone and the 3rd win for the team in 2024, didn't happen without its own drama. For example, seeing Hamilton get the race lead early and fight off Leclerc's attack would naturally make you think the plan would be built around him, and you would try to get the best results for Russell, who was fighting his own battle behind. But when they called Hamilton into the pits to try and defend against Leclerc's undercut, which Hamilton thought was unnecessary because he felt like his tires were doing just fine, it started to become a very interesting situation. Hamilton was put in a spot where he had to use his tires much more, which made them wear out faster, but still not enough for him to go for the 2-stop plan. As Hamilton said many times on the radio, he was happy with the tires, but the team still called him in. On the other hand, Russell asked the team to think about the one-stop plan when he was ahead of Piastri, and they didn't even question this at first, which makes you wonder if they like Russell's strategy ideas more than Hamilton's. Despite everything that's happened in the past 3 years between Mercedes and Hamilton with development fights and direction changes, it's a clear message that Mercedes is sending out there. The driver who stays with the team from 2025 onwards is Russell and not Hamilton. So, if there's a chance for the younger British guy to take a win, then the team would do absolutely nothing to help Hamilton in his last journey with Mercedes. This won't make the 7-time world champion happy in the last 11 races of the season. Because just like in Canada, the radio was totally quiet at the end of the race, which shows how frustrated he was with the team's decisions throughout the whole race at Spa. Wolff has explained this situation, telling us why one of the drivers was allowed to go for the one stop while the other one was being called into the pits twice, even though the tires seemed fine and perfect for racing. The Austrian said, "I'd like to have 2 winners today, but we had to cover Leclerc and Norris. We would have been undercut, and that was the call. And George had nothing to lose. We were in 5th place, and the one-stop and 2-stop plans were showing 5th place, so we just kept him out. And George was very good today. But when you look at the speed, Lewis was also good. They both did a fantastic job. The plan worked out for George and not for Lewis, but as I said, I'd like to have 2 winners today. We just need to keep both feet on the ground and try to do our best in every race. And then we're going to see what happens at the end of the championship. If we had finished 3rd at Spa, it would have been a success nonetheless." Even in the cool-down room, Hamilton told Piastri that the tires were fine in all the parts of the race that he was told to come in, which again makes you wonder if he's being hurt by his own team, even though there's plenty of proof that points otherwise since he has out-qualified Russell quite recently in the past couple of races ever since the email accusations went viral. Mercedes is definitely getting better, no question, but will it come with bad feelings between Russell and Hamilton in the final stages of 2024? Time will tell, as in the cool-down room, the tension was more than obvious as neither one of them wanted to start a conversation or act happy about a result that the team would have dreamed of just yesterday, let alone at the beginning of the season. But you couldn't take away Russell's success as managing to defend against your teammate and pass Perez, who seemed to have the fastest car with fresh tires all weekend on much older tires, is definitely something that puts you up there as one of the greatest drivers in the sport. Already having 2 wins this season, with this one being much more valuable because it came after he started in 6th place and wasn't by luck like the one in Austria, but rather by his own strategy, is something that looks good for his future, with Mercedes and the title-winning times that are slowly but surely coming back to the team. When talking about the race in the post-race talk, Hamilton said, "To get a 1-2 going into summer break is pretty spectacular. I wasn't expecting us to be as strong as we were, but it felt great to get in the lead. It was a bit of a shock at the end, but we'll take it and move forward. We can all go into the summer break with our heads high for sure. It is a positive fight with your teammate. George wasn't really in my race for most of it, so if the strategy had been done right, he wouldn't have been in my race and we wouldn't have been having that fight. But it is great that at the end our car was so far ahead." What was definitely at risk was the 1-2 finish of the team because Piastri was on much fresher tires and catching up behind, which is why Martin Brundle felt Russell would let Hamilton by easily in order to get the best results for the team, as even 2nd place would have been a massive result considering that he started the race in 6th place. But ever since Hamilton entered the DRS zone, it was clear that there would be no letting go from Russell, as he fought hard on much more worn tires to keep his lead ahead of his teammate, which is something that could have been avoided if Mercedes helped Hamilton with his strategy. This is something that Hamilton has also said in the post-race talk, and when talking about the one thing that he would change looking back, he proudly said, "The strategy." Piastri was very close at the end, and had it been a couple more laps, I highly doubt that both of the Mercedes drivers would have been able to defend against the angry Aussie who was definitely going for the 2nd win in a row in his career, which was more or less held up by his aggressive pit stop that cost him 4 seconds, again helping Mercedes in a great way. Even so, the Silver Arrows have now shown a pattern of behavior that we can't ignore, and while the focus is on the Constructors' Championship, where they are extremely close to 2nd and 3rd place, potentially even 1st if the upward path continues, Russell is the driver who they are expecting to win whenever he has a chance. A similar situation happened last race in Hungary with McLaren, and just because Piastri was leading most of the race and was undercut by his own teammate, the team told Norris to give the position back, which wasn't done. Now in Mercedes, the team said to Hamilton was to leave enough space, as they also thought that this would be an easy pass given the nature of the track, something that should not have been a challenge for the 7-time world champion. Now Mercedes cannot wait for the summer break to get over, as they are looking forward to the first race of the second half of the season at Zandvoort, where they will have the new floor mounted, one that seemed to not have worked any wonders here at Spa. Explaining this situation, Wolff said, "We changed the floor, but I don't think the performance came from this. We tripped over ourselves with something mechanical. We will have the new floor in Zandvoort." With all this in mind, do you think that there is now tension in Mercedes after the latest 1-2 finish at Spa that definitely didn't go in Hamilton's favor? And more importantly, do you think that in the team's meeting, the 7-time world champion will have a lot to say about calling his own strategies from now on? Let us know what you're thinking in the comments below, and once you do that, check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.